Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. And today I want to start with a thought that might just change the way you think about learning English forever. What if I told you that just 90 minutes, yes, 1.5 hours, could completely transform how you speak, understand, and feel English? Not months of confusion, not years of struggle. Just one focused session that could open your mind in ways you've never imagined. Now, I know what you might be thinking. 90 minutes sounds like a long time, right? But here's the truth. Most of us spend more than that watching random shows, scrolling endlessly, or doing things that leave us exactly where we started. What if you used that same 90 minutes once a week to build something that stays with you for life? Because here's the secret. It's not about how long you study. It's about how deeply you connect with what you learn. And today's 90-minute session isn't just about English. It's about building confidence, fluency, and a mindset that never stops growing. So here's my challenge for you. Stay with me till the end. Because by the time these 90 minutes are over, you'll see English, and yourself, in a completely new way. You'll realize that this isn't just another class. It's a breakthrough. And it all begins right now. The breakthrough mindset. Why one focused session beats years of struggle. You know, most people imagine learning English as this never-ending journey of memorizing words, going through boring grammar books, and spending years waiting for some kind of magic to happen. But what if that's the biggest mistake learners make? Think about it. How often do you see people stuck at the same level, even after years of trying? They learn, they forget, they repeat. It feels exhausting. The real secret isn't about how much time you spend, but about how you use the time you already have. Imagine giving yourself one powerful, focused session, where every minute is designed to build skills that stay with you. Instead of 10 years of random effort, what if just one well-designed experience could trigger a real breakthrough? That's the mindset shift most learners miss. Here's the interesting thing. Your brain doesn't always remember by repetition alone. It remembers when it feels something. If you watch a movie scene that makes you laugh, you never forget those lines. If you hear a phrase in a song you love, it sticks in your mind. But when you stare at a grammar chart, nothing feels alive. That's why most learners feel stuck. They're studying without connection. Now imagine sitting down for 90 minutes, not to memorize rules, but to experience English. To hear it, speak it, play with it, and use it in ways that feel natural. That short, focused burst of practice creates an emotional connection. And once your brain makes that connection, English doesn't just stay in your notebook, it becomes a part of you. Most learners don't realize this. One breakthrough session can rewire your confidence completely. It's like pushing open a door you didn't even know was locked. Suddenly, the language feels lighter, easier, more natural. You realize you don't need years of suffering. You need moments of clarity. Here's a simple example. Take two learners. The first spends 3 years trying to memorize vocabulary lists, repeating words that never come out naturally when speaking. The second sits for 90 minutes with a focused method. They practice those same words in real sentences, listen to them in natural conversations, and speak them aloud. Guess which learner actually remembers? Guess which one feels confident using those words tomorrow? This is the difference between studying about English and actually experiencing English. When you study about English, you're like a tourist looking at a map. But when you experience English, you're walking the streets, hearing the sounds, tasting the food, you're living it. And living it even for 90 minutes can change everything. Many learners don't trust this idea at first. They think, how can one short session compete with years of study? But think about music. If you sit with a guitar for hours just staring at chords, nothing happens. But if someone shows you how to play one real song in 90 minutes, you suddenly feel like a musician. That one song builds confidence, and from there, everything grows faster. English works the same way. The breakthrough mindset is all about focusing on depth, not length. You don't need to do everything. You don't need to cover every grammar rule in one sitting. You just need to go deep enough into one skill, one set of phrases, one style of speaking, that it becomes part of you. That's what changes everything. And here's the best part. Once you've experienced one breakthrough, your brain starts asking for more. Confidence is addictive. When you feel yourself improving in real time, even for a few minutes, you want to keep going. That's how fluency builds, not through endless hours, but through repeated moments of deep, meaningful learning. So the real question is, are you ready to trade years of frustration for one session of focus? Because once you try it, you'll never go back to the old way of learning. This is how breakthroughs begin, by believing that small, powerful steps can do more for you than a lifetime of random effort. Unlocking clarity. How to train your ears and truly understand English. Have you ever been in a situation where someone speaks English to you, and even though you know most of the words, the sentence feels like one fast blur? You catch the first word, maybe the last word, but the middle disappears. You nod politely, hoping you understood, but deep inside, you're not confident. This is one of the most common struggles learners face. Not vocabulary, not grammar, but simply hearing English the way native speakers use it. The truth is, your ears are not trained for natural speed. Most learners practice with slow, clear textbook recordings or with teachers who speak carefully. But when you meet real English, in movies, podcasts, meetings, or even casual conversations, it's like entering another world. Words shrink, sounds connect, and sentences flow in ways that textbooks never prepare you for. So how do you fix this? How do you train your ears to unlock clarity? The secret is not about hearing faster, it's about listening smarter. Let's explore this step by step, with real-life examples you can practice right away. 1. The illusion of speed. When people say native speakers talk too fast, what they really mean is that speakers connect sounds together. For example, textbook English, what do you want to do? Natural English, what do you want to do? See the difference? No one is actually speaking faster, they're simply reducing sounds. To your ear, it feels like a blur. But once you know what to expect, you start to hear the patterns. Try this, say the phrase slowly first, what do you want to do? Then speed it up naturally, what do you want to do? Once you practice both versions, you'll start recognizing the reduced version in real conversations. 2. Training your brain with chunks. Most learners listen word by word, which makes understanding almost impossible at natural speed. Native speakers don't listen like that. They listen in chunks, small groups of words that carry meaning together. Take this sentence. I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee before the meeting starts. If you try to catch each word, you'll get lost. But if you break it into chunks, I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee before the meeting starts. Suddenly, it feels easier. Your brain processes ideas, not individual words. Here's a real-life trick. Next time you watch a short English video, even a 30-second clip, write down the sentence in chunks, not single words. Then replay and listen again. With practice, you'll start hearing those chunks automatically. 3. The listen-repeat shadow method. This is one of the most powerful ear training techniques. It's simple but effective. Listen, choose a short clip, 10 to 15 seconds. Repeat. Pause after each sentence and repeat exactly what you heard. Shadow. Play it again and speak along with the speaker, trying to match their rhythm and tone. For example, take a line from a movie. It's not about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. First, just listen. Then repeat slowly. Finally, shadow the actor's voice. The first time, you'll stumble. But by the 5th or 6th time, you'll start noticing how words blend. It's not about, it's not about. Your ears begin to recognize those reductions naturally. 4. Real-life example. Ordering food. Imagine you're at a busy cafe in New York. The cashier says, "Hey, how are you doing? What ya having today?" Now, in textbook English, you'd expect, "Hello, how are you doing? What are you having today?" But in real life, no one talks like that. The sounds shrink. How are ya, what ya, what are you? If you don't know these reductions, you'll freeze. But if you've trained your ear, you'll understand immediately. And here's the best part. Once your ear learns these common patterns, you'll notice them everywhere. 5. Use subtitles the smart way. Watching movies or TV shows with subtitles can be powerful, if you use them wisely. Most learners either rely on subtitles too much or avoid them completely. The key is balance. Here's a simple method. First watch with subtitles in English. Then replay the same scene without subtitles. Finally, compare what you heard with the actual script. For example, in the show Friends, Joey might say, "How you doin'?" If you read the subtitle, it looks simple. But when you hear it, it sounds like, "How ya doin'?" That tiny discovery sharpens your ear. The more often you do this, the faster your brain adjusts. 6. The power of repetition with variety. If you listen to the same clip 20 times, your brain gets bored. Instead, use repetition with variety. Take one topic, like sports news. First, listen to a short radio clip. Then, watch a YouTube interview about the same topic. Finally, read a short article on it. Each format trains your ear differently, but the topic connects them. That way, you're not just repeating words, you're deepening your understanding in different contexts. 7. The confidence shift. Many learners panic when they don't understand every word. But here's the secret. Even native speakers don't catch every single word. They rely on context. For example, if someone says, "Hey, could ya grab me that thing over there?" You might not clearly hear "could ya," could you? But from context, you understand the request. That's how real communication works. Your goal is not to understand 100%. Your goal is to understand enough to respond naturally. Once you accept this, your confidence grows, and your listening improves faster. 8. Practice with real-life scenarios. Let's try some practice right here. Imagine 3 common situations. At the airport. Agent, passport and ticket, please. Fast version, pass PRN ticket, please. At the supermarket. Cashier, do you want to pay with card or cash? Fast version, do you want to pay with card or cash? Meeting a friend. Friend, what have you been up to lately? Fast version, what you been up to lately? Notice the reductions. If you train your ear with these daily life examples, your understanding will skyrocket. 9. Daily 5-minute ear workout. Here's a practical routine anyone can follow. 1. Pick a 1-minute audio, podcast, video, or song. 2. Listen once without subtitles. 3. Listen again with subtitles. Mark the words you missed. 4. Repeat the sentences out loud. 5. Shadow along with the speaker. In just 5 minutes, you've trained your ear, your pronunciation, and your speaking rhythm. Do this every day, and in a month, you'll notice a huge difference. 10. The breakthrough moment. One day, after weeks of practice, something magical happens. You're watching a movie or talking to a colleague, and suddenly, you understand a full sentence at natural speed. No subtitles, no pause button, no panic. You just get it. That's the breakthrough moment learners live for. And once it happens, you'll realize English is not as fast or impossible as it once seemed. It's just a new rhythm your ears had to learn. So the next time you feel lost while listening, remember this. It's not about learning more words, it's about training your ears. Clarity doesn't come from the dictionary. It comes from experience, from listening, from shadowing, and from living the language in real moments. Because once your ears unlock the rhythm of English, the whole language finally makes sense. From hesitation to confidence. Speaking without fear. One of the biggest obstacles English learners face is not grammar, not vocabulary, not even pronunciation. It's fear. Fear of making mistakes. Fear of sounding silly. Fear of being judged. And this fear doesn't only stop you from speaking, it keeps you stuck in hesitation. You think, you translate, you pause, and by the time you're ready to speak, the moment is gone. But here's the truth. Confidence is not something you magically wake up with. It's a skill you build, one conversation at a time. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. And once you stop chasing perfection and start chasing connection, your English starts flowing. Let's break this down into real strategies, vocabulary, and examples you can use in daily life. 1. Why hesitation happens. Think about the last time you wanted to say something in English but stayed quiet. What stopped you? Probably one of these. What if I make a mistake? What if they don't understand me? What if I don't know the right word? This inner dialogue creates hesitation. But remember, even native speakers make mistakes, forget words, and correct themselves all the time. The difference is, they don't care. They keep talking. That's what you need to learn. 2. The power of simple starter phrases. Sometimes, hesitation happens because you don't know how to begin. A simple phrase can break the ice and give your brain time to catch up. Here are some powerful starters you can memorize. When you need time to think. That's a good question. Let me think about that for a moment. Well, I guess what I'd say is, when you don't know the exact word. It's kind of like, it's similar to. I don't know the exact word, but it means. When you're nervous in a group. Can I share an idea? I just want to add something here. In my opinion, these short phrases are like confidence keys. They unlock the conversation and help you avoid silence. 3. Real-life example. At a meeting. Imagine you're in a work meeting, and someone asks your opinion. Your brain freezes. Instead of panicking, you can use a simple starter. That's a good question. I think the best option is to. Well, from my perspective, the important thing is. Even if your grammar isn't perfect, these phrases give you structure. The listener focuses on your idea, not your mistakes. 4. Practicing mistake tolerance. Here's a surprising fact. People don't judge you for mistakes as much as you think. In fact, most people admire the courage it takes to speak a second language. What they notice more is your attitude. If you smile, stay calm, and keep going, they'll respect you. For example, imagine you say, he go to work yesterday. Grammatically, it's wrong. But the listener still understands you. If you panic, the conversation dies. But if you keep going, they hardly notice. So practice being mistake tolerant. When you make an error, just correct yourself casually. He went to work yesterday. That small correction shows confidence. 5. Vocabulary for expressing uncertainty. Sometimes, you hesitate because you don't know how to show uncertainty politely. Here are some useful expressions. I'm not completely sure, but I think. If I remember correctly. I might be wrong, but in my opinion. It seems to me that. These phrases allow you to speak even when you're not 100% certain. Instead of staying silent, you contribute with confidence. 6. Real-life example. Social conversation. Let's say you're at a party and someone asks, "What do you think of this city?" Instead of freezing, you can use your uncertainty vocabulary. I'm not completely sure yet, but I think it's very friendly. If I remember correctly, this is the third biggest city in the country, right? Notice how these phrases make you sound thoughtful, not hesitant. 7. The role of body language. Confidence is not only in your words. It's in how you carry yourself. Stand tall, keep your shoulders back, make eye contact, and smile. Even if your English isn't perfect, confident body language makes people listen. Imagine two learners saying the same sentence. I think maybe this idea is good. Nervous, looking down. I think this idea is good. Calm, steady voice, eye contact. Which one sounds more confident? The words are almost the same, but the delivery changes everything. 8. Building confidence with small wins. Confidence grows in steps. Don't wait for a big stage to practice. Start small. Order coffee in English. Ask a stranger for directions. Introduce yourself in a new group. Each small win builds your courage. Over time, speaking English feels less like a test and more like a normal part of life. 9. Vocabulary for building connection. Another way to fight hesitation is to use phrases that build connection with your listener. These expressions make conversations flow. Showing interest. Really? That's interesting. Oh, I didn't know that. Tell me more about it. Agreeing politely. I see what you mean. That makes sense. I agree with you. Disagreeing politely. I see your point, but I think. That's true, although I'm not sure I completely agree with that. These short sentences keep conversations alive. Instead of hesitating, you always have something ready to say. 10. Real-life example. Talking with a friend. Friend, I think learning English grammar is boring. You, I see your point, but I think it can be fun if you learn through games or stories. Instead of silence, you've shared your idea confidently. 11. Turning nervous energy into excitement. Here's a psychological trick. The feeling of nervousness, sweaty hands, fast heartbeat, is almost the same as excitement. The difference is in your mind. Instead of saying, I'm nervous, tell yourself, I'm excited. Before a conversation, repeat, I'm excited to share my thoughts. I'm excited to practice my English. This small mindset shift changes your energy. People feel your positivity, and you sound more confident. 12. Daily practice routine for confidence. Here's a 5-step routine you can use every day. Mirror practice. Talk about your day in front of a mirror for 2 minutes. Don't stop, even if you make mistakes. Phrase practice. Choose 3 starter phrases, like, that's a good question, and use them in real life. Role play. Imagine a situation, ordering food, meeting someone new, and practice out loud. Listening response. Watch a short video. Pause, then respond as if you're part of the conversation. Celebrate small wins. Write down one situation where you spoke English today, even if it was small. In just a few weeks, this practice builds unstoppable confidence. 13. The breakthrough example. Let me share a real-life story. A student once told me she never spoke English outside class because she was afraid of mistakes. But one day, she forced herself to order food in English. I'd like a chicken sandwich, please. The cashier smiled and understood. That tiny success gave her confidence. Next time, she asked for directions. Then she joined a group conversation. Within months, she was speaking daily without fear. Her grammar was not perfect. Her vocabulary was limited. But her confidence was growing, and that's what made her English improve faster than years of silent study. 14. The key lesson. Confidence doesn't mean speaking perfectly. It means speaking anyway. Mistakes don't kill communication. Silence does. If you want to stop hesitating, you need to practice, to use simple phrases, to accept mistakes, and to keep going. Because the truth is this: fluency is not the absence of mistakes. Fluency is the courage to speak without fear. The power of simple fixes. Small changes that make a big impact. When learners think about improving their English, many imagine they need to do something huge. Study for years, memorize thousands of words, or master every grammar rule. But the truth is, sometimes the smallest fixes create the biggest results. You don't need to change everything. You just need to adjust a few key habits, phrases, or sounds, and suddenly your English feels smoother, clearer, and more natural. Let's explore how simple fixes, tiny changes you can apply immediately, can make a dramatic difference in your fluency. 1. Fixing silent pauses with fillers. One of the most noticeable signs of hesitation in English is long, awkward silence. You know what you want to say, but your brain is searching for the right word. Instead of going completely quiet, you can use natural fillers that give you time to think while still sounding fluent. Useful fillers. Well, you know. Actually. Let me see. That's an interesting point. Example in real life. Someone asks, "What do you think about social media?" Instead of staying silent, you can say, "Well, that's an interesting point. I think it has both good and bad sides." That small fix, adding a natural filler, makes you sound confident and keeps the conversation flowing. 2. Fixing flat intonation with stress and rhythm. Many learners speak English with the same flat tone. It makes them sound robotic or unsure. But English is a language of rhythm. Native speakers stress certain words more strongly and let others fade. Example. Flat. I want to go to the market. Natural. I want to go to the market. Notice how the stressed words carry the meaning. Try this. Next time you speak, choose the most important word in your sentence and stress it slightly more. It instantly makes you sound more natural and clear. 3. Fixing overtranslation with simple phrases. Many learners translate directly from their native language, which creates long, unnatural sentences. The fix. Learn short, ready-to-use phrases that English speakers actually say. Examples. Instead of, "It is necessary that you give me an answer quickly," say, "I need your answer soon." Instead of, "I did not sleep in a good way," say, "I didn't sleep well." Instead of, "I have a lot of hunger," say, "I'm really hungry." These simple fixes reduce overthinking and make your English sound natural. 4. Fixing mispronunciations with small adjustments. Sometimes, a tiny change in pronunciation makes a big difference in clarity. Common fixes. Comfortable is not comfortably. It's comfortably. Vegetable is not vegetably. It's vegetably. Wednesday is not Wednesday. It's Wednesday. When you start saying these words the natural way, people instantly understand you better. 5. Real-life example. At a restaurant. Imagine this situation. You want to order food, but you're nervous. You say, "I want chicken with rice. Bring me water also." The waiter understands, but it sounds a bit unnatural. With small fixes, it becomes, "Can I have the chicken with rice and a glass of water, please?" Same meaning, but smoother, more polite, and more natural. One simple adjustment changes how others perceive your fluency. 6. Fixing grammar overload with key structures. Instead of trying to memorize all grammar rules, focus on mastering the ones you use most often. Simple structures to practice daily. Talking about the past, I went to, / I saw, / I had. Talking about the future, I'm going to, / I'll. Asking questions, what do you? / how can I? / where is? If you can master these, you can already handle 70% of daily conversations. That's the power of simple grammar fixes. 7. Vocabulary fix. Replacing very with stronger words. Learners often overuse very. While it's not wrong, replacing it with stronger vocabulary makes you sound advanced. Examples. Very big, huge. Very small, tiny. Very tired, exhausted. Very good, excellent. Very fast, rapid. Real-life sentence. Instead of, "The movie was very good," say, "The movie was excellent." One word change makes your speech sharper and more impressive. 8. Fixing listening struggles with common reductions. As we saw earlier, native speakers reduce sounds. A simple fix is to practice hearing these reductions. Examples. Going to, gonna. Want to, wanna. Did you, did ya. Got to, gotta. Real-life example. Friend, I'm gonna grab some lunch. If you didn't know the reduction, you'd miss it. But once you recognize it, Clarity improves instantly. 9. Real-life example. Small talk with a stranger. You're sitting on a bus and someone says, "So, do you live around here?" Instead of freezing, here's the natural way to respond with simple fixes. Awkward. Yes, my house is in this location. Natural. Yeah, I live nearby. Small vocabulary shifts make your English flow better. 10. Fixing over apologies with polite alternatives. Many learners overuse sorry. While polite, it can sound weak if repeated too often. Replace it with alternatives. Examples. Instead of, "Sorry, I don't understand," say, "Could you repeat that, please?" Instead of, "Sorry, I'm late," say, "Thanks for waiting." Instead of, "Sorry, I don't know," say, "I'm not sure, but I think." These small fixes show confidence and professionalism. 11. Daily quick fix exercises. Here's a 5-minute routine you can try daily. Replace very. Write 3 sentences without using very. Polite fixes. Turn one direct sentence into a polite request. Chunk practice. Take a sentence and break it into natural chunks. Pronunciation check. Pick one word, like comfortable, and practice saying it the natural way. Real scenario role play. Pretend you're ordering food or meeting someone new. Use natural phrases. These micro-practices take only minutes but create lasting impact. 12. The breakthrough story. I once worked with a learner who had studied English for years but still sounded hesitant. We didn't change everything. We only fixed 3 habits. He replaced very with stronger words. He stopped translating directly and used short natural phrases. He practiced polite requests instead of blunt sentences. Within weeks, his colleagues at work noticed. They told him, "Your English suddenly sounds smoother." He hadn't learned thousands of new words. He had just applied simple fixes. 13. Why small fixes work. The human brain loves quick wins. When you see fast progress, you feel motivated to keep going. Small fixes give you those wins. You don't need to wait years for improvement. You can feel it today, in your very next conversation. And here's the truth. People don't judge you for not knowing advanced grammar. They notice how natural, polite, and confident you sound. That's why these small changes matter more than big, complicated lessons. 14. Key takeaway. Fluency isn't built on perfection. It's built on hundreds of small, smart adjustments. Each fix, using a filler, stressing keywords, replacing very, correcting pronunciation, brings you closer to sounding natural. So next time you speak English, don't aim for perfection. Aim for one small fix. Because when you add them up, those small changes create a big impact. Sound like you belong. Mastering pronunciation and natural flow. One of the biggest frustrations learners have is this. People understand my words, but I still sound like a learner, not like someone who truly belongs. You might know the grammar, you might have the vocabulary, but if your pronunciation feels heavy, or your rhythm doesn't match natural English, you feel like an outsider in the conversation. Here's the truth. Pronunciation is not about changing your identity or copying an accent perfectly. It's about clarity, rhythm, and flow. It's about making your speech sound smooth, confident, and natural so that people focus on your message, not on your mistakes. Think about music for a moment. A song can have the right lyrics, but if the singer sings off-beat or out of tune, the song feels wrong. Language works the same way. You might say the correct words, but if your rhythm and stress are off, it sounds unnatural and sometimes hard to understand. That's why mastering pronunciation and flow is less about sounding foreign or sounding native, and more about sounding connected. Why pronunciation matters more than you think. Imagine you're in a cafe and someone asks, "Can I have a coffee?" If you stress the wrong syllable and say, "coffee," the listener might pause for a moment to figure out what you mean. That pause breaks the flow of communication. But if you say, "coffee," it clicks instantly. Same word, same letters, but one version makes you sound confident, the other creates confusion. Now multiply this across a whole conversation. If every second or third word sounds slightly off, the listener's brain works overtime to interpret you. That creates a wall between you and them. But if your rhythm and flow feel smooth, people almost forget you're a learner. They simply listen to your ideas. The 3 keys to natural pronunciation. Word stress. In English, every word with 2 or more syllables has one strong syllable. For example, tibli, not tobieli. Window, not window. Deci shaun, not deci shaun. If you stress the wrong syllable, the word feels off to the listener, even if they understand you. Sentence stress. English isn't flat. Some words are stressed, and others shrink. For example, I want to go to the store. The important words, want, store, are stressed. Small grammar words, to, they shrink. If you stress every word equally, I want to go to the store, it sounds robotic. Connected speech. Native speakers don't pronounce every word separately. They connect them together. For example, I'm going to, I'm gonna. What do you want? What do you want? Did you eat? D'you eat? Or even jeet. You don't need to copy every fast reduction, but learning to recognize them helps you understand and sound natural. Real-life example. 2 versions of the same conversation. Learner version. Robotic. I want to ask you about your job. Natural version. Smooth. I want to ask you about your job. The second version flows like a river. It doesn't feel blocked. That's why pronunciation isn't about sounding perfect. It's about removing the blocks that interrupt the flow. Practical exercises. The clap test. Take a sentence. She bought a beautiful dress yesterday. Clap on the stressed words. She bought a beautiful dress yesterday. Now say it again, matching your voice to the rhythm of your claps. Suddenly, your English feels more alive. Mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror and watch how your mouth moves. Compare it with a native speaker from a video. Do they open their mouth wider? Do they round their lips more? Copying facial movements helps pronunciation naturally. Slow motion speech. Record yourself saying a sentence very slowly, exaggerating the stressed syllables. I would like a cup of soffee. Then, speed up gradually until it feels natural. This trains your rhythm. Vocabulary focus. Words learners often mispronounce. Comfortable /kvmftbl/ not comfortably. Vegetable /vedtbl/ not vegetably. Wednesday /Wednesday/ not Wednesday. Clothes, not chs. Receipt /receipt/ the P is silent. These words show that spelling doesn't always match sound in English. Learning the spoken form makes you sound much more natural. Real-life story. There was a student named Maria who worked in an international company. She knew all the business vocabulary, but during meetings, she always felt nervous because people often asked her to repeat. She thought her English wasn't good enough. But the truth? Her vocabulary and grammar were fine. Her pronunciation stressed the wrong syllables. For example, she said project instead of project. After practicing stress patterns for just a few weeks, people stopped interrupting her. Suddenly, her ideas flowed clearly, and her confidence grew. She told me, it wasn't about learning new words, it was about learning how to let my words breathe. That's the power of natural pronunciation. Bringing flow into daily life. Next time you order food, try saying it with connected speech. Instead of, I would like a cup of tea, try, I'd like a cup of tea. Next time you meet a friend, instead of, what are you doing? Try, what ya doin'? These little shifts make your English sound alive. People don't think, oh, this person is learning. They think, this person belongs here. The deeper lesson. Sounding natural isn't about erasing your accent. Your accent is part of your identity. The goal is not to lose it, it's to make it clear, confident, and connected. A French speaker, a Korean speaker, a Spanish speaker, all sound different in English, and that's beautiful. What matters is rhythm and flow. Because when your English flows, your confidence flows with it. People stop focusing on how you're saying things, and start listening to what you're saying. And that's when communication becomes real. Vocabulary that sticks. Words and phrases you'll never forget. One of the most common struggles for learners is this: I learn new words, but I keep forgetting them. You might spend hours writing lists, memorizing flashcards, or repeating definitions, but when the moment comes to use those words in real conversation, they vanish. It feels frustrating, doesn't it? The truth is simple. Your brain doesn't remember words because you studied them. It remembers words because you lived them. Just like you never forget the name of your favorite food, or a song lyric that plays in your head again and again, vocabulary sticks when it has meaning, emotion, and context. Why most vocabulary study fails. Think about the traditional method. You take a notebook, write down 50 new words, and try to memorize them with translations. For example, apple, table, opportunity. But what happens? You know the translation, but you don't know how to use the word. Worse, after a week, half the list is gone from your memory. Why? Because your brain stores information in two ways. Short-term memory, like a whiteboard. It holds information for a while, then erases it. Long-term memory, like permanent ink. It keeps information forever. The mistake learners make is trying to force words into long-term memory by repeating them endlessly, but without any emotional connection. That's why lists fade. The secret: emotional context and usage. Here's a powerful truth. If a word makes you feel something, you'll remember it. If you use it in real life, you'll never forget it. For example, the word delicious. If you just write it in your notebook, you might forget. But if you say it while eating your favorite dessert, this cake is delicious. Your brain connects the taste, the moment, and the word together. That connection makes it unforgettable. This is how children learn language. They don't memorize lists. They hear words in real situations, they connect them with emotions, and they repeat them naturally. That's why their vocabulary grows faster than adults who rely only on textbooks. Real-life example. 2 learners. Imagine 2 learners, Ollie and Maria. Ollie studies with lists. Generous. Complicated. Journey. But Maria studies with context. She watches a movie where a character says, "Thank you, you've been so generous." She feels the kindness in the scene. She hears a friend say, "It's complicated," when talking about a relationship. She feels the emotion. She takes a bus trip and thinks, "This journey is long." After a week, Ollie forgets half the list. Maria remembers everything. Why? Because her words are alive. Techniques for vocabulary that sticks. The story method. Pick 5 new words and make a funny or emotional story with them. Example words: surprise, hungry, friend, rain, umbrella. Story: one rainy day, my friend surprised me with food. I was so hungry, and luckily she brought an umbrella too. When words live in a story, they live in your memory. The conversation method. Practice new words by using them in a real or imaginary conversation. Example word: confident. Conversation: how do you feel about the exam? I feel confident. The more you speak the word, the stronger it sticks. The emotion method. Attach feelings to words. Example word: exhausted. After a long day, say, "I'm exhausted." Feel the tiredness as you say it. That emotion glues the word to your memory. The daily challenge. Choose 3 new words every day and promise yourself, "I will use these in real life at least once today." If your words are polite, recommend; confused, then. At a cafe, could you recommend something? With a friend, she was very polite. Talking about homework, I was confused. That small daily habit builds unstoppable memory. Vocabulary focus. Everyday words that transform your English. Here are some powerful words and phrases learners love because they're useful everywhere. Absolutely. Stronger than yes. Do you like it? Absolutely. Actually. For correcting or surprising. I thought you were busy. Actually, I'm free. By the way. For adding information. I'll see you tomorrow. By the way, can you bring the book? On my own, meaning alone, independently. I fixed the car on my own. No worries. Casual way to say, it's okay. Sorry for being late. No worries. At the end of the day. For summarizing. At the end of the day, family is most important. These are sticky words. Once you use them, you'll find yourself repeating them naturally. Real life story. I once had a student named Hassan who always felt frustrated with vocabulary. He said, I study hundreds of words, but when I speak, I only use the same 10. The problem wasn't memory. It was usage. We changed his method. Instead of lists, he chose 5 words per week and used them in every possible way. For example, the word, opportunity. In class, he said, this is a good opportunity to learn. With friends, I don't want to miss the opportunity to join the trip. At work, this project is a big opportunity. By the end of the week, opportunity was part of him. No forgetting, no hesitation. Advanced tip. Collocations. Words often live in pairs or groups. Learning them together makes them stick. For example, make a decision, not do a decision. Heavy rain, not strong rain. Fast food, not quick food. Take a risk, not make a risk. If you learn vocabulary in collocations, you don't just know the word, you know how to use it naturally. Final thought. Vocabulary is not about collecting words, it's about collecting experiences. Every time you feel, live, or use a word, it becomes part of you. That's why the best way to grow your vocabulary isn't by memorizing endless lists, it's by living the words you want to remember. Because when words stick, conversations flow. And when conversations flow, you no longer study English, you live it. Practice that works. Turning knowledge into real conversations. Most learners have this experience. They read grammar books, memorize vocabulary, even watch lessons online. And yet, when it's time to have a real conversation, their mind goes blank. They know the words. They know the rules. But the bridge between knowledge and speaking is missing. The truth is, practice is the bridge. But not all practice is equal. Reading lists and doing exercises might give you knowledge, but it doesn't prepare you for real-life conversations. The only practice that truly works is the kind that simulates real communication, where you're thinking, listening, and responding in real time. Why knowledge only doesn't work. Imagine learning to swim by reading a book about swimming. You might know every stroke, every breathing technique, even the science of water. But the first time you jump into a pool, you panic. Why? Because knowledge without practice doesn't train your body or your confidence. Language works the same way. You might know 5,000 words, but if you never practice using them with another person, they won't come out naturally. That's why many learners feel frustrated. They're smart, but silent. Real practice versus fake practice. Fake practice. Memorizing lists without speaking. Translating words back and forth. Writing sentences but never saying them aloud. Repeating the same exercise again and again. Real practice. Using new words in conversations, even simple ones. Speaking with a partner or recording yourself. Listening to natural English and repeating what you hear. Simulating real-life situations, ordering food, interviews, small talk. Real practice feels alive. It challenges you. It sometimes feels uncomfortable. But that discomfort is where growth happens. The 3-step practice formula. Input. First, expose yourself to real English. Movies, podcasts, conversations. Listen and notice how words are used. Output. Next, use it yourself. Speak the phrases aloud. Write them in a text. Try them in real conversations. Feedback. Finally, check yourself. Record your voice. Ask a partner. Or compare your sentences with native examples. Without all three, your practice is incomplete. Input gives you material. Output makes it real. Feedback makes it stick. Real-life example. Let's say you learn the phrase, "I'm not sure, but I think." Input. You hear it in a TV show. "I'm not sure, but I think she left already." Output. You practice. "I'm not sure, but I think it will rain." Feedback. You listen to your recording and notice your "I'm" sounded like "I am." You adjust and try again. That one phrase, practiced through input-output feedback, becomes part of your natural English. Everyday practice situations. At the cafe. Instead of just saying, "1 coffee." Practice, "Can I get a coffee, please?" Or, "I'd like a coffee." Meeting a friend. Instead of, "Hello, how are you?" Practice, "Hey, how's it going?" Or, "What's new with you?" At work or school. Instead of, "I don't know." Practice, "I'm not sure, but maybe we can try this." By practicing in real-life settings, you connect your English to daily routines. That's what makes it natural. Vocabulary in action. Let's take 5 words. Confident, recommend, complicated, delicious, exhausted. Now build a conversation. A. How was your presentation? B. I felt confident. It went well. A. Great. Can you recommend a good restaurant nearby? B. Sure, but it's complicated to find without GPS. A. Was the food delicious? B. Yes, but I'm exhausted now. I need a rest. C. One short dialogue uses 5 words naturally. This kind of practice makes vocabulary stick. The shadowing technique. One of the best ways to practice speaking is shadowing. Here's how it works. Play a short audio or video in English. As the speaker talks, repeat their words at the same time, like an echo. Focus on rhythm, stress, and flow, not just words. Example. You hear, "What are you doing this weekend?" You shadow, "What are you doing this weekend?" This builds pronunciation, speed, and confidence all at once. Real-life story. There was a learner named Sophia. She studied English for years but felt nervous speaking at work. Her manager suggested practicing real-life situations. Instead of just studying, she rehearsed phone calls, practiced small talk, and role-played presentations. Within months, she stopped freezing in meetings. She told me, the key wasn't learning more, it was practicing what I already knew until it felt natural. Turning solo practice into conversations. Even if you don't have a partner, you can still practice. Record yourself answering daily questions. What did you do today? Talk to yourself while cooking. Now I'm cutting vegetables. Now I'm washing the pan. Describe what you see around you. There's a man walking his dog outside. These little moments build fluency because you're turning knowledge into speech. Final thought. Real practice isn't about perfection. It's about progress. Every time you turn a word from your notebook into a spoken phrase, you win. Every time you try, even if you make mistakes, your brain learns faster. Because fluency doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from using what you know. And the more you practice in real-life ways, the closer you get to speaking English confidently, naturally, and without fear. Building lifelong confidence with English. When people think about learning English, they often imagine reaching a finish line, a point where they finally know enough. But the truth is, language isn't about reaching an end, it's about building confidence that lasts a lifetime. The real goal isn't perfection. The goal is freedom, the ability to speak, understand, and express yourself without fear. Confidence in English isn't something you get overnight. It grows step by step, through practice, mistakes, and small victories. And once you build it, it doesn't just help you in English, it transforms how you see yourself in every area of life. What confidence really means. Confidence isn't the absence of mistakes. Even native speakers forget words, stumble, or correct themselves. Confidence means you can keep going even if you make a mistake. You trust that people will understand your message, even if your grammar isn't perfect. You dare to try, speak, and express yourself, instead of staying silent. Think of a child learning their first language. They don't wait until they're perfect. They experiment, play, and speak, even with broken grammar. That's the mindset learners need to adopt. Breaking the myth of perfection. Many learners wait to speak because they think, I'll start when I know more words. Or, I'll practice when my grammar is better. But waiting creates more fear. Imagine if you waited until you could play every piano song perfectly before touching the instrument. You'd never start. The same with English. Confidence grows by using what you know today, not by waiting for tomorrow. The confidence cycle. Here's the process. Try, you attempt to use English, even if you're nervous. Learn. You notice what worked and what didn't. Improve. You practice again better than before. Grow. Your confidence increases because you survived, you spoke, you connected. Each cycle makes you stronger. And the more cycles you repeat, the less fear you feel. Real-life confidence builders. Small conversations. Confidence doesn't come from giving a TED Talk. It comes from small moments. Ordering coffee, asking for directions, introducing yourself at work. Each small success is like lifting a weight. It makes your speaking muscles stronger. Instead of, coffee please. Try, could I get a coffee please? Instead of silence in the elevator. Try, busy day huh? Or it's really hot today. Celebrate mistakes. Mistakes aren't failures. They're proof that you're learning. Every mistake is a sign that you're practicing, and practice is the only road to fluency. One student once said, I'm mistake-rich. That attitude turned fear into progress. Role-play situations. Pretend you're in an interview, at a party, or traveling. Practice lines in front of a mirror or with a friend. Role-play makes the real moment feel easier because your brain has already been there once. Vocabulary for confidence. Here are 10 words and phrases that can help you sound more confident in everyday English. Actually, I think that's a great idea. Honestly, I didn't expect that. Definitely. I'll definitely be there. Probably. I'll probably go after lunch. Exactly. Yes, exactly. That's what I meant. Maybe we can try another option. Sure, no problem. Absolutely, I agree. Not really. Do you like football? Not really. Kind of. I'm kind of tired today. These small expressions give you flexibility and help you join conversations naturally. Example conversation. Confidence at work. A. Could you share your opinion on this project? B. Sure. Honestly, I think it's a strong idea, but maybe we should add more details for the client. A. Exactly, that's what I was thinking too. B. Great. Then we're on the same page. Notice how the words honestly, maybe, exactly, sure create a smooth, confident tone. Confidence in social situations. When meeting someone new. Instead of, my English is not good. Try, I'm learning English, so I might make mistakes, but I'd love to talk. This shows confidence and invites kindness. Most people admire your effort and will encourage you. When joining group conversations. Use, that's interesting. To enter. Use, I see what you mean, to show engagement. Use, "Can you say that again?" to stay included. Confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. Real life story. From silent to confident. There was a learner named Marcos. He lived in Canada but avoided speaking English because he was afraid of mistakes. 4 months, he stayed quiet at work. One day his colleague said, "Marcos, we want to hear your ideas, even if your English isn't perfect." That simple encouragement changed him. He began speaking up in small ways, adding one sentence in meetings, asking one question at lunch. Over time, his confidence grew. Months later, he was leading full discussions. His English wasn't perfect, but his confidence made him effective. Simple daily habits for confidence. Record yourself for 2 minutes a day. Talk about your day. Listen, notice, improve. Learn one phrase a day, not just a word, but a full phrase like, "I didn't catch that. Could you repeat?" Use English in routine tasks. Change your phone to English. Write grocery lists in English. Celebrate progress. Write down every small victory. "I ordered food in English today." Confidence grows like a plant. You must water it daily with small actions. The power of, "I don't know." Many learners fear questions because they think they must always have the right answer. But confidence also means admitting when you don't know. Here are polite, natural ways. "I'm not sure, but I can find out." That's a good question. "Let me think." "I don't know the answer, but I'd love to learn." These show honesty and maturity, qualities that make you sound confident, not weak. Advanced confidence trick. Thinking in English. Confidence comes when your brain stops translating and starts thinking directly in English. Here's how to practice. Look around your room and name objects in English. Ask yourself questions in English. What should I eat? Where are my keys? Narrate your actions. I'm opening the window. I'm checking my email. The more your thoughts happen in English, the more natural your speech becomes. Long sample dialogue. Confidence while traveling. Traveler, "Hi, I'd like to check in. My reservation is under Lopez." Receptionist, "Sure, just a moment. Can I see your passport?" Traveler, "Of course, here it is. By the way, could you recommend a good place for dinner nearby?" Receptionist, "Yes, definitely. There's an Italian restaurant 2 blocks away. It's very popular." Traveler, "Sounds great. Is it complicated to find?" Receptionist, "Not really, it's easy. Just go straight and turn left at the traffic light." Traveler, "Perfect, thank you so much." Receptionist, "You're welcome. Enjoy your stay." This short exchange shows how polite vocabulary, simple questions, and confidence create a smooth interaction, even if the grammar isn't complex. Shifting identity through confidence. One of the most powerful parts of learning English is identity. At first, learners feel like foreigners in the language. They worry about sounding wrong. But as confidence grows, you stop seeing yourself as a student and start seeing yourself as a communicator. Confidence is not only about English, it's about how you see yourself in the world. English becomes not just a subject you study, but a tool you use to connect, to work, to travel, to dream. Final reflection. The journey to lifelong confidence is not about memorizing thousands of words or never making mistakes. It's about showing up, trying, practicing, and believing in yourself even when it feels uncomfortable. Every conversation is a chance to grow. Every mistake is a lesson. Every small success is proof that you're moving forward. Because in the end, confidence in English is confidence in yourself. And once you build it, you carry it everywhere. Into classrooms, workplaces, friendships, and adventures. The question is not, when will I be perfect in English? The real question is, am I willing to take small steps today, so that tomorrow I can speak with freedom? If your answer is yes, then confidence is already on its way. Before you go, take a quiet moment and ask yourself, What if this wasn't just another lesson? What if this was the beginning of something truly different? Because if just one 90-minute session can make English feel clearer, lighter, and more natural, imagine what could happen if you gave yourself this same focus every week. Not pressure. Not perfection. Just presence. One step at a time. One session at a time. Don't let what you learned today fade away. Take one phrase, one idea, or one mindset shift that stood out to you, and use it before the day ends. Speak it. Write it. Share it. That small action is how real growth begins. And if today's session gave you even a little spark of confidence, hold on to it. Let it remind you that you're already capable, already improving, and already on the right path. Stay with me. Keep learning. Keep showing up for yourself. Because your journey toward confident, natural English doesn't start someday. It starts now. And before you leave, tell me in the comments, what topic should I cover next? Your ideas inspire every lesson we create together. So share your thoughts below. I can't wait to read them.